What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be stepping into the northern part of Italy making some ossobuco. So right here we have beef shanks. In northern Italy it is commonly made with veal shanks, but since we're in the US we will be using beef shanks. So this is the Costco special, 3 beef shanks. So we're going to cut into these and let's get started. So on these 3 shanks, there is some excess fat and some silver skin on the outside of the shank. So we're just going to be trimming that off. We are still going to be leaving some fat on, but we are just trimming away the excess. Okay, so we have all of our fat trimmings. Try to get as little red meat as possible. And then we have our 3 beef shanks. I don't know what you can do with this, I'm throwing it away. Before we put a nice sear on the beef shanks, we need to season them with salt and pepper. They are pretty thick, so we do want to use a pretty aggressive amount of salt and pepper, patting it in to make sure that it does not fall off. You want to salt and pepper the top, bottom, and the sides. Don't forget about the bone marrow. All right, now we're gonna go over to the stovetop and get a nice sear on these things. Most ossobuco recipes call for 4 beef shanks. In this case, I kind of got lucky with Costco only having 3 because I do not have the pan surface area to lay in 4 beef shanks. In this case, we are using a Dutch oven in which we are going to sear the beef shanks, and we are going to be using this pan or pot for the entire process. So having a wider Dutch oven of sorts, something that is wider and lower, is more preferable. But in this case, a Dutch oven will work. My recommendation is searing 1 or 2 at a time instead of loading the Dutch oven with all 3 like I did. Anyway, to get a good sear, but we are going to be using this same Dutch oven for the entire process to keep all of the flavors in one location. Once there is a nice sear on all of the shanks, we can remove them and set them aside for the time being. Okay, so while our pot is cooling over here, we have our beef shanks. In this bowl we have carrots, about 2 cups. We have 1 cup of celery, and then we have 1 white onion, and then we are going to need 3 cloves of garlic. Okay, so now that we got everything chopped, we're going to go back over to the stovetop and start working on our broth. Once all of our vegetables are chopped, we are going to go back over to the stovetop and slowly reheat our Dutch oven, still with all of the juices inside. We are going to add our garlic first and let that slowly simmer and become aromatic. Once the garlic is aromatic, we are going to be adding in the rest of the chopped vegetables. So go ahead and add in the onions, the carrots, and the celery. Basically, just want to mix this until everything is nice and softened. It is going to take a good amount of time, so enjoy this time lapse. Once our vegetables are nice and softened, we are going to crack open a fresh can of tomato paste, and we are going to add in about 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. You can go ahead and give that a nice mix. Once the tomato paste is covered in all of the vegetables, then we can grab some red wine. It does not have to be cooking red wine, it can be any type of red wine, but we are going to go ahead and add a ½ cup of red wine. Give that a mix, and then we can grab the beef stock. Beef stock, we're just going to add in about 2 cups worth. Give that a mix as well, and then wherever you have your beef shanks laying, you can go ahead and grab them. Again, for me it was tricky, but I'm going to lay in all 3 beef shanks in this Dutch oven, nice and spaced out. Once the beef shanks are in and you wrestled them in, I made sure that they were pretty submerged, and then I put the lid on the Dutch oven and we put that thing in the oven for about 2 hours. So go ahead and take a nap, and I'll see you in 2 hours. Oh. That is my cast iron. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours. We probed the meat. It is about 212 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's over that 200 mark. It is probing tender, so we are going to take it out, see how tender it is, and then we're gonna do some shredding and then put it back into the Dutch oven. So here we go. This next part takes a little bit of time and patience. So we are going to remove the beef shanks one by one, and then I personally remove the bone first just to make it easier to work with. Sometimes the bone marrow will fall out, sometimes it won't. Preferably, I keep the bone marrow inside the bone still. And then I go ahead and grab 2 forks and basically just rip apart each of the beef shanks. It is tender, but it is not going to be falling apart unless you want to leave it on longer. This was right at 2 hours and we wanted to eat at a certain time. So I used 2 forks, broke everything up into small pieces, and then beef shank by beef shank, put it back into the Dutch oven. We were putting it back into the Dutch oven. That way it can mix with all of the juices of the vegetables and the shank juice. Basically, we just want all of the untouched juice meat to reincorporate back in with the juice. So this definitely took a little bit of time and patience, but it is going to be well worth it. Once all of the beef shanks are done, I put 2 out of the 3 bones back in as the bone marrow fell out of 1. And then I put the lid back on and put it back into the oven for another 40 minutes to an hour until everything was well incorporated and even a little bit more tender. So I will see you soon. Okay, so we got our Ossobuco. We lost the bone marrow in one of them, delicacy. But we're just gonna go back in with 2 bones for about another 20 minutes just to let all of the juices soak into the loose meat. And then we're going to also work on our side dish. Polenta was our side dish of choice, so if you have any flavorful recipes for polenta, please let me know in the comments. Moving on to the plating, I went with a simple design of laying 1 bone in the center. I mixed up the meats and then put half of the meat on one side of the bone and polenta on the other half of the bone. Took some pictures, and let's see how I like it. Now I have to actually make sure that I did a good job. So let's get some of the meat. Tender, flavor's great, can't go wrong. Polenta. I mean, if you salt the polenta, polenta's good. Appreciate you guys watching to the end. Go try this for yourself. Let me know how it goes, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.